Well, guys, Islam Makhachev looked a lot like Khabib last night. He dominated Drew Dober and finished him with a great submission. Nick and I are going to talk about that and what's next for the Russian superstar right now. What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
Guys, if you're new here, we talk about all things combat sports, and we really appreciate if you slap that like button, and if you like what you hear, consider subscribing to our channel.
Thanks.
So, Nick, without further ado, Islam Makhachev.
Yes.
He looked a lot like a fighter that I've seen in the UFC before, but I just can't quite put my finger on who it is.
Well, here's a little hint for you. He was in the corner of Islam Makhachev
that's right.
last night. Khabib. Yeah, so, man, what a performance.
Yeah,
you
what
know,
a fighter.
And it's so funny. I was thinking last night as we were watching it, the 155 division is obviously the hammer-filled division of the UFC. It's the best division, most competitive. But it felt like there was something missing when there wasn't a dominant, combat sambo wrestling figure sitting at the top of it. And with Khabib kind of out of retirement, in transition to retirement, we don't really know where he stands as far as
all we know is him and
competing.
Dana are going to dinner.
Yeah.
How many dinners are they going to, by the way?
He's in every embedded that the UFC's had since he's retired. He's on every pay-per-views. He's in the corner of everybody, and he's sitting next to
on
Dana
the short
all the
list
time.
for Coach of the Year so far for 2021.
Yeah, his stable's looking pretty strong. He's also running a promotion himself. It just felt like there was something missing as a representative of a combat sambo Dagestani monster, and it was nice to see somebody in there to take that flag and run with it. And Islam Makhachev, I think he deserves all the praise that people like Khabib, Daniel Cormier, Luke Rockhold, Javier Mendez, and even Khabib's father Abdulmanap were praising him with. And wow, I was very impressed.
No, this guy's the real deal. The takedowns at will. I mean, Drew Dober is a strong, athletic guy who's a great striker. Makhachev literally was like, when I want to take him down, I will take him down. It's like when Floyd Mayweather wants to jab your face, he's going to jab your face. It was literally that easy for him. He can do it just simply without even thinking twice. It's just a natural mechanic that he can land on anybody at any time, it seems.
Yeah, and what's so impressive is those guys, their wrestling, their clinch work, when they tie up with you, how they get you to the ground. It's so versatile. It's not like they have one single thing. Obviously they're great with the single legs and the high crotches and the double legs, and they can get you to the ground those ways. They can also press you up to the cage and then pry you off the cage, and you'll wind up on your back. But what he was doing last night, which was so impressive, was these trips. He'd tie up with Drew Dober, and Drew Dober's obviously a tough guy to take to the ground, and he would just figure out some sort of way to counterbalance and bring Drew Dober off his balance, and then hit a beautiful trip. And he made it seem like it was easy stuff. There's some very high-level mechanics taking place in those situations, and I think that Khabib saying that his wrestling is on par with mine and his striking's even better than mine it seems to be a very true statement.
Yeah, and I was watching him last night, and I remember making this comment to you. It's not that he does any technique that I'm like, oh, wow, I've never seen that before. I've never seen anybody do that. He just has an absolute mastery of the basics as far as takedowns and ground control goes. And as we know, what really makes a champion, it's having a total mastery of the basics. And you can just implement them. The basics look like something amazing when they're done well and they're timed perfectly. And Makhachev does both of those things. Here's the thing. Dana White said after the fight, we'll see. I can't remember who. I think it was Dana. We'll see who wants to fight him. Nobody wants to fight this guy. So maybe it'll be another guy, outside the top 15 or maybe in the top 10 to 15 because a lot of the guys at the top don't really want to fight him. We know he had that fight with RDA. But as far as I'm concerned, Makhachev should not pay the price for somebody not wanting to fight him. They should start calling people. I mean, RDA said he would do it, and they had that main event scheduled, and it got canceled for various reasons. So I'm not saying that RDA wouldn't accept that fight again. I think he probably would. They're saying he wants to fight Tony Ferguson. I say go ahead and make that matchup. But my feeling on Makhachev is let's give this guy the fast track, just like how they're doing with Michael Chandler. Pick up the phone and call. Will you fight Islam Makhachev? No, okay, cool. Well, you just lost to him by default because he's moving up the rank. We're going to continue calling people who are ahead of you in the rankings until somebody accepts the fight. And then if he beats that person, he's going to push you one step back in the rankings. Because this whole game of, I don't want to fight Islam Makhachev. He's not a big enough name. This is 155. There's a lot of big names here. This guy should not be punished for greatness. He should not be punished because he has a fighting style that makes other fighters take pause when the matchmakers call him.
Yeah, you should not hold on for dear life to your ranking, the number next to your name on a couple of websites, like boxers hold on to the O on their record. You need to just forget about it. And you're exactly right. Dana White should call a top 5 guy. Say, hey, Tony Ferguson, do you want to fight Islam Makhachev? And I don't think Tony would say no. I think Tony would absolutely say yes. But if he says no, okay, then say, okay, great. Well, then you guys are going to swap positions. You're now 14. He's now 5. Because if you're not willing to fight him, then I have to do something with him. Islam Makhachev proved last night that he is a top 5, top 7 talent at 155.
I agree.
And you can't give him people that are ranked 15 to 25 and because he's just going to smash them. And not that Drew Dober just got ran over, but we realized that there was a big gap as far as talent and skill between Islam and Dober. And I feel like if you're not willing to fight these guys and you'd rather just hold on to your ranking and your number for dear life, then you deserve to be penalized for it. The ranking and the number means absolutely nothing. If you can promote yourself, if you can make yourself interesting enough, if you can sell stories and you can pick fights that the UFC is interested in watching you compete in, you can climb your way right to the top. And the UFC doesn't care how difficult your schedule is to get to the title. If you call out 4 or 5 people that you think are favorable matchups for you and you win them, guess what? You're probably on your way to a title fight or a number 1 contenders match or a main event, which is even more important. Look at Khamzat Chimaev. He's ranked 15 right now, having 1 fight at 170. And if he wins against the number 3 guy, he's fighting for a title next. And that's a huge jump. A lot of people probably go, oh, well, he didn't fight not number 10, number 12, number 15, or number 14, number 9, any of these guys. Well, that's because all of them said no. And he had to just by
we started the phone calls at 12.
Right.
4 said yes.
Right, exactly. And we wound up on this guy, and guess what? Because nobody wants to fight him, there's a short list of people that are willing to do the heavy lifting. He's going to get a title fight next. And I just feel like that's what fighters need to understand. They don't get that holding on to a number. Oh, you're number 6 in the 155 division. Congratulations. That means absolutely nothing. It really doesn't. And people hold on to that like it's gold. The only ranking you should care about is the C, which isn't even a number.
Absolutely. And this is something that when we first started doing jiu-jitsu, Master Pedro Sauer, who was the first lineage that we started our journey in martial arts with, said something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. I can't recall exactly who it was, but it was effectively a purple belt. A new purple belt got submitted by a white belt that was about to get his blue belt and was just all out of sorts about it and said, what how did this happen? I'm a purple belt. This guy's a white belt. He's only been training for a year. And Master Sauer said, listen, the belt only protects 2 inches of your waist. You got to protect the rest. I look at the ranking just the same. The ranking that the people think the ranking is like some sort of shield in front of them. It's some sort of like, I can push you away because of this little number that I got over here. No, I think just the opposite. If Mick Maynard calls you, if Sean Shelby calls you and says, you're number 5, will you fight the guy that's number 14? And you say no, that says way more about you than it does about the guy at number 14. If you believe in the rankings, how you say you do, and you're holding on, this guy couldn't even contend with me, then go prove that. Go make easy work of him because you got to fight anyways. They don't have anybody else for you to fight. So go ahead and fight this guy and make easy work of him. But what you'll find is that the rankings, I do like that they do like Glover Teixeira, for example, we talked about him earlier and how he's going to get the next title shot against Jan Blachowicz. I do think rankings should matter in that regard. But if you are a fighter and you get called for somebody who's further back in the rankings than you, and you just say, no, I don't want to do this, I don't like the matchup, that's not a good enough answer for me.
No, it's not. And, the shield around them is so true. And a fake tough guy, this is the excuse they'll make. They say, hey, number 5, will you fight number 14? His name's Islam Makhachev. No, he's not he's not even around my level. I'm not gonna go down and fight some 15 guy. What you need to do is the same thing Uncle Chael says all the time. When they offer you a fight, say you'd like. Don't say this, but ask for the easiest opponent for the most amount of money in front of the most eyes that you can possibly get. And if you think that number 14 isn't at your level and you're not going to fight him because you don't think he's good enough, then you should go take that fight right now. And when 9 out of 10 people are saying, oh, this guy is actually a top 5 talent, but he's ranked number 14, that gives you even more reason to fight him because there's more praise around this guy, and it's kind of untapped. It's an untapped market,
Go make if he's so easy, go make easy work of him in the main event position on a fight night and build your name off of Khabib's boy. Who knows? Maybe you'll knock him out and you'll bring Khabib out of retirement. So it's nonsense. It's posturing, and they say that, but the reality is that people see something in this young Islam Makhachev that they're afraid of, and they don't want to fight him because he is a true problem. I want to talk about something he did specifically last night on the ground that was beautiful, and that is his transitions. When you watch people like Michael Chiesa, especially when he's fighting against Diego Sanchez, you think about that old Bruce Lee saying, be water, flow like water. Michael Chiesa did that to Diego. Makhachev did that beautifully with Dober last night. Every move that Dober made on the bottom, Islam had a counter move for, and he continued just like a boa constrictor to inch his way closer and closer and squeeze the prey tighter and tighter. Every move that Dober made made the situation worse for him. Makhachev's transitions on the ground were beautiful. His half guard, the pressure, the crossface, the knee cuts, just seamless knee cuts, straight to mount, and then high mount, finishing. Dober rolls, gets his back taken. It's just a clinic on how to maintain pressure but still be fluid on the ground.
Right. And like Rickson Gracie talks about when you're on your path to a submission, or you can replace submission with victory. Once you take something from them, you never give it back. So once and we look at the human body in jiu-jitsu terms, is once you get a hold of their legs, which Islam did, he did that typical Khabib maneuver where they collect your lower body and then your legs wind up crossed like this straight on the ground, and you're sitting there. Your legs you don't get them back until either the end of the round or until
you're now fighting from your torso up.
Right. And then he moves up from here, and then he isolates an arm, and now it's up here, and you're not getting this back down here to a safe, frameable position anymore until you tap or until this round ends. And I just saw Islam do that so well. Oh, he's going to turn. Drew Dober's going to turn around onto his all fours and try to fight like that. Well, then he was all over his back and deep hooks and maneuvering his arms in ways and throwing just enough striking in there to keep it very active and keep things opening up for him to eventually find the finish. And I just think it was a flawless performance.
It was.
If there's 10-8 rounds, that we were talking about some wild 10-8 rounds, I think maybe Islam Makhachev may have earned a 10-8 or two last night. Yeah,
and it's the way he finished Dober last night speaks to his pressure, because he wasn't even in the right spot to finish that sort of head and arm triangle that he was literally like, most of the time when you have somebody's arm isolated, you need to get to that side of the body and then drive pressure through the shoulder, put all your weight basically through the shoulder and finish the choke. He was sort of, I have trying to remember, I haven't gone back and watched the fight, but he was in sort of a half guard position, and his pressure was still enough to finish. And that says a lot. That's not just some easy thing to do. That's a hard submission to finish. Let alone finish from a half guard position.
Yeah, and finish it on a tough guy. And it looked like Drew Dober's head was going to pop off because he was so up under the chin with his shoulder and stuff like that. And I just felt like, Drew Dober gave it all he got. He looked really good in there. I think he tried to stay on his feet, and some of the takedown attempts he was able to, fiend off for a little while, but after a while it was all but over, and it was inevitable. And Islam Makhachev is everything that they were hyping up and then some. And I hope they give him a worthy opponent next, because I don't want to see him mollywop somebody else, because in my opinion that doesn't really move him that much further along. What needs, obviously there is an aura around him and he's scary, and that's going to continue to propel him forward. But we need to see him move forward as far as skilled opponents.
Yep.
And there's no sense in watching him fight unranked guys, people that we don't know. I think he belongs in there with the Justin Gaethjes, with the Paul Felders. I'd love to see Paul Felder in there with him. I'd love to see Tony Ferguson in there with him. Those are the fights I'd love to see him in, and I don't think the UFC is going to get much out of giving him unnamed, unranked opponents out of him.
Yeah, I agree. And he says he wants Tony. And listen, I think Makhachev beats Tony, but I will say that I am intrigued by that fight. Tony is a 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He touts that. He talks about it all the time. He's got a twister for your ass, or you know what? You know, he's You saw what happened with Kevin Lee.
Snap Jitsu.
Yeah, Snap Jitsu. Kevin Lee is not. Kevin Lee's a fantastic wrestler. He's not Islam Makhachev, but he's a fantastic wrestler. He found himself in a triangle against Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson is a guy who's dangerous from the back, and I would like to see Islam fight a guy, because we know where Islam's taking the fight. He's taking the fight down, and he's going to be on top of you. Spoiler alert. If you guys heard that, sorry if we broke any news here. But Islam Makhachev is going to take you down, and he's going to be on top. So what I would love to see is somebody who's good from the bottom. Let's see that fight. And I think that Tony Ferguson will lose that fight. And I'm a Tony fan, and I think Tony's reaching the end of his career. But at the same time, if that's the fight he wants, Tony's a guy who will fight anybody. That armbar that Charles Oliveira put on him that he didn't tap to shows you what kind of guy Tony Ferguson is. He's a madman. So I would love to see that fight. I'm also not mad at the RDA fight.
Yeah, and honestly, if Dana White were able to sign Islam Makhachev versus Tony Ferguson tonight, he could go ahead and shell out two $50,000 checks for fight of the night.
We're going to preemptively give you guys $50,000.
Because I know that would be fight of the night. It'd be so fun to watch. And Tony's hard to finish. Islam's not a quick finisher. He's more of an accumulation type of guy. I really think that would be a fun fight to watch. And it would
Islam would eat some elbows on the top as well, because you know Tony throws a lot of strikes from the bottom, so we may see Islam's face a little beaten up, even if he gets that submission or gets that ground and pound TKO. Yeah,
and Tony also is pretty creative with wrestlers entering in, and sometimes he lets them take him down, but that's just to set up a crazy submission or a position on the bottom that he's just preemptively getting into and allowing a takedown to happen. But also he's creative with his flashy striking from there, and I think that would be a really fun fight. If that's the fight Islam is kind of planting a seed for and putting out into the earth, we might as well let it happen, because I think Tony's ready to get back in there. He's eager to fight, and a win over him puts him right back in the talk.
Yeah, and now what if Tony beats Makhachev? What if he submits him? You know, I don't think that would be the outcome, but if it does, what a better way to put Tony Ferguson, what a better way to right the Ferguson ship than that.
And by the way, we always were promised 6 times, I believe, Tony versus Khabib. We didn't get to see that. But, you know, this is as close as we're ever going to get to that
If
fight.
there's a consolation prize, it's Islam Makhachev versus Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, and who knows, that might be the straw that breaks the camel's back and gets Khabib back, because if
God forbid, if Tony beats him, then Khabib's fighting Tony.
Right, because he's going to make sure that Tony's not better than all the Combat Sambo guys.
That's for sure.
That's great.
Well, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. What did you think of Makhachev's performance? We were blown away. Who should he fight next? Do you agree with us that it should be Ferguson, or are we doing El Cucuy wrong? Let us know in the comments. We always enjoy engaging with you guys there. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. And check us out on audio where you listen to those podcasts for your car rides. Have a great one, guys.
Peace.